All right, now let's welcome our next speaker for the day. That's Dr. Safala Shroff, who will be the representative of Dr. Duru Shah, the Chairperson of Metropolis Foundation.
Thanks, Priya. Dr. Duru Shah could not be here, but I'm Dr. Safala Shroff and represent Metropolis Foundation, which she has founded. I'm a co-trustee in the foundation. Can I have the slide, sure? So, good health, till they get it, good health is all about timely intervention, and Mr. Rusen Kumar proved that to us by changing the lunch hour and eradicated hunger of the platform here. You have the presentation? Okay, so a little bit about Dr. Shah. She's the chairperson and founder of the Metropolis Foundation. She's an obstetrician and gynecologist just like myself, and my journey with her in fact goes over 20 years. When I was her student, she was my mentor, and we've stuck together bringing a lot of work done in the adolescent and youth sections. So, no? Okay, I'll just keep going on because I know he wants to speed slide the show. Okay, so Dr. Shah is a consultant with Jaslok Hospital, Breach Candy Hospital. She's been the chairperson and the president of various organizations like the Federation of Obstetricians and Gynecologists of India. She's been the chairperson of the Indian Menopause Society. She's won a lot of awards. One of the awards that she won was the Distinguished Merit Award from the Federation of International Gynecologists and Obstetrician Society, and that was with her work in genital mutilation and trying to do work in trying to stop that, and even in helping victims of sexual abuse, where she was part of the body which eradicated the very regressive and unscientific two-finger test. So with that, Dr. Shah has worked in a lot of platforms, and in 2001 to 10, I worked with her in a project called the Kishori. Kishori project was something that we did to empower the adolescent girls, and we said that a growing up program was our first program actually. It was on sex education, and no school, no institute wanted to hear about the word sex. They said the parents will come and kill us, so there's no way we will allow you to take these topics with them. So we changed it. We said, okay, let's call it adolescent reproductive and sexual health. Quietly we put that in. And some schools and colleges allowed us to take that, and not some. In fact, we reached all over India because when she was a president, she garnered all the support from all the gynecologists of India. And we reached out to over, I think, 8 million girls, over 100 cities. More than 1,000 gynecologists were roped in this. While doing this, we realized that we are reaching out to schools, colleges, but what about the dropouts? There was a high dropout rate in our country for girls when they get the periods, the parents don't want to send them. Those who work in the social development sector, who work in NGOs, in fields and grassroots levels will actually vouch for that. So what we did is in Dharavi, we set up a model which was called Kishori, and that was where we partnered with UNICEF, and Sion Hospital gave us a small community center, says, "Wahan pe kaam karo." So there what we did is we tried to attract the dropouts by vocational training. So, we offered Mehndi, we offered tailoring, and they would come, and our hidden agenda was tell them about reproductive health, tell them how to take care of their bodies, avoid reproductive transmitted infections, and also empower them with skills so that they could become financially independent. So that project also went on for many years. Besides these two programs, Dr. Shah has brought a lot of, value to the plate. She's created a workshop called the STAR Workshop, which is for survivors of sexual abuse. And, even when we were doctors, gynecologists, we were never told how to, we were never taught only how to examine a rape victim. So if I got a patient, we would say, no, I don't want to be responsible for some wrong documentation, so I don't know, kisi aur ko dhundo. So in that poor person lost out the chance, of getting justice. So she brought together a platform. I'll just complete this and then we'll go through the slides. where she got all the various stakeholders on one platform. So that was doctors like us who were willing to learn but didn't know where to go. Judiciary to tell us what do you look for in evidence so we get it right for you. We got the NGOs who worked in this sector of sexual abuse, and we got the police to sensitize them. And it was a beautiful program where we shared our views, and out of that came a whole docket or a document. So today if you go to hospitals, there's a ready-made docket available which tells you how to fill, what to do. A film was made, Body and Soul. We also have the swabs and all, how to take the sample, put in that. Okay, how do I work this? So a little bit about Metropolis Foundation. So everyone must be, most of us must be aware of Metropolis Healthcare, which is the Metropolis labs or the pathology specialists. So Metropolis Foundation was established as a CSR arm. Approach is based on the principle that education and awareness leads to empowerment. And vision is simple. Encourage, educate, empower the youth. So our focus is the youth. In most of the topics today, we've been learning about, how we are focusing on the youth, and that helps us invest in a better India and future. So the aim is to reach out to youth in all sections of society and empower them with accurate knowledge and, advocacy. So every fifth person in this is in this age group. Let's move. Now, there's a transition that we see from, as doctors, we see this transition, and I'll just come to the trend. Today, the youth are basically the adolescent children. The girls are maturing earlier. They're getting periods at the age of 9, and that's not unusual. We are saying that's normal. What you heard at 14, 15, your periods are coming at 9. Then there's a very different, robust behavioral change. They have increased risk-taking, increased sensation seeking, and this is very important. They're going away from the parent towards their peers, towards their friends. So no wonder that they have many issues. Go to the next. So reproductive health is where we started, and just some statistics that this is a recent one. Age of first intercourse is down from the age of 20 to 16. In fact, I just read that in USA it's 15. And no wonder that the teenage pregnancy rates will be higher. Next. Sexuality is a whole ball game altogether. It has a wide range of topics. Sometimes parents don't know how to answer. There's LGBTQIA. There are all sorts of terminologies. So today's youth express themselves very differently. They don't want to be categorized in a certain way. Next. So we see changes in behavior. Surprisingly, there is access to contraception, there's access to safe sex, but they will not use it. Most of the teenagers, in fact, what we see, the boys may use a condom, but the girls will initiate sexual activity, but will not use anything until 6 to 9 months of sexual activity, and most of them get pregnant in that time. Next. So important is, why am I bringing this out? Our youth need to be informed that there are conditions that will cause problems later on. There are preventable, diseases that will strike you now, but the effect of it will come later. Next. Again, I try to bring out recent statistics between 15 and 19. This is a world statistic that 121 million unintended pregnancies. They didn't want to get pregnant. 61% underwent abortion. Imagine in India perspective, by 2030, we are supposed to be 95 million adolescent girls. So why is it important that we focus on adolescents? Their behavior is very different from adults. If the adolescent girl gets pregnant, she will delay going to a doctor. She will go to an unskilled doctor. She will come to a good doctor or an institute when it's very late. Complications have already arisen. Next. We'll go through this slide, next one also. So substance abuse, as we know, we should not be addressing it, but today's youth whitewash it. नहीं, मैं तो cigarette पी रहा हूँ with less tobacco. मैं vape कर रहा हूँ with direct nicotine. उसमें tobacco है ही नहीं, तो lungs safe हो जाते हैं. I don't know where they get these, information from, but it's wrong. Addiction will give rise to some health issues in future. Next. So if they get the correct education, if they get the correct reason why they have to invest in their health when they are young, a lot can be done in future. So nutrition, we see like a whole range. We see malnutrition, we also see obesity, we see vitamin D deficiency, anemia, and all these are preventable. Next. I talked to you about gender discrimination, and Dr. Shah is a warrior for women's health when she talks about female feticide and genital mutilation. Next. So violence against women, we know these statistics, they are very horrifying. Every 5 minutes a violent crime is reported. Next. Again, I've tried to pull out a recent statistic. Imagine every 16 minutes in India, a rape is reported. What about what is not reported, right? Next. So what was all this? This is why we do what we do. And that's why the Metropolis Foundation was born. Next. So I talked to you about the growing up program that we did in schools. That was over 10 years. Next. Then I talked to you about the Kishori program that we did in Dharavi. Next. So we used to screen them for anemia, treat them for anemia. We involved the doctors to do the same thing over 83 cities, and our motto was making the majority our priority. Next. We could not avoid talking about safe motherhood. So along the river Ganga, we had a walk over 2,400 kilometers, 40 villages. Every day there would be a camp. At least 100 mothers would come. Their young girls would come. We would in fact vaccinate them for rubella. Rubella would prevent them from getting such simple things. Just one vaccination. They don't need repeated vaccinations. But prevents congenital defects in their child. Imagine a disabled child in already a marginalized home. Right? So things like this were preventable. Next. I talked to you about the STAR program, which was the ones which was done with all the stakeholders. Next. And the FIGO that, next. PCOS. It's surprising that today, when I'm speaking to some NGOs in small areas, they're saying, हम लोगों के लड़की लोगों को PCOS के बारे में जानकारी चाहिए. So this is a word that they are also familiar with. Hormones go up and down. So there's a platform that is created where they learn what is the disease, they learn from experts, they share their thoughts. Next. So it was no wonder that Dr. Shah founded her NGO called the Women's Empowerment Foundation in 2014. And we did what worked for us. So Kishori worked for us, Growing Up program worked for us. So we replicated that model. Next. But a beautiful thing came out from our needs-based assessment. In Dharavi, most of them from a Muslim traditional family, conservative family said, हमको लड़के लोगों से बचाना है, सीटी बजाते हैं, कुछ बोलते हैं, एक लगता है जाके थप्पड़ दे दे, लेकिन हिम्मत नहीं है, क्या करें? Can we learn martial arts? Actually, it came out from the girls. And so we developed something called the Empowerment Self-Defense Program. So this is not getting them a degree. It's a basic 3-month program and a 3-month advanced program where they are taught situational self-defense. You're alone in a train compartment, how to be alert about it. You're walking alone in the middle of the night on the street. How do you protect yourself? So this, we started with just 30 girls because there was some resistance from families initially. And then it ended up training over 650 girls. Next. Some of them are now self-defense trainers and they are LIC agents who have to go home to home. So imagine the attitudinal and behavioral shift that we could achieve in their families. Next. So this was our physical outreach. We said, chalo, now let's do digital because now you've been hearing about telemedicine and everything. So you know how technology is. And India, honestly, in small villages also mobile phones are available. We know that, right? So take advantage of that. So we created an app called Too Shy to Ask. So Too Shy to Ask is an app which addresses all these issues with these modules in 5 languages. We said, let's reach out, don't keep a bar. So English, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Tamil. It's an award-winning app. Next. So why did we do the app? Parents are shy to talk to their children. They still use the words wee wee, pee pee, chi chi. They never say vagina and penis. Say what it is, right? But they are only, shy to talk to their own child. So where will the children go? So they go to the internet, don't get the correct knowledge. So what is the beauty and the USP of this app is ask the expert a question and you can do it anonymously. Who are the experts? They are gynecologists, they are psychiatrists, they are psychologists, nutritionists, all pan-India. Dr. Shah, myself also answer these questions. Next. These are the questions. These are actually the questions that have come on the app. Next. Here they are not too shy to ask. Here we said let the parents also come to know what we are doing. So in the midday we ran a column called Too Shy to Ask. At least the parents know you don't want to learn from me. Chalo, this is an app. You learn from there. Next. So then, unfortunately, COVID hit us. Today, we use COVID as an excuse for everything. कुछ भी नहीं होता है तो, because of COVID. But through the Women's Empowerment Foundation, which was started in 2014, we started facing some issues with funding. Now, Dr. Shah is from the family of Metropolis, and they said, let's adopt it as the CSR arm of the Metropolis Healthcare. So therefore, Metropolis Foundation is just a change in name from the Women's Empowerment Foundation, which was, the change of name happened in 2022. Next. So what is our strategic vision? Adolescent and youth have to make well-informed choices for their future. It started with reproductive sexual health, but we've added so many facets to it. So it's an integration of the digital outreach from the app and a physical outreach with the focus on sexual abuse by partnering with schools, NGOs, institutions, and we stick by the 3 pillars, that is educate, empower, and encourage. Next. So our great leaders of every era have focused on the youth. Next. So why not us? So let's make the majority our priority. Thank you and Jai Hind.